This is what if Kid Flash survived, aka what if Wally West Kid Flash from Young Justice survived season 2. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, I did delay this video. I started recording about 2 hours after my earlier video today, what Spider-Man was in Young Justice Part 10. Now, I am working on my stop motion right about now. You're probably gonna get it like 6 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around that time. 6 o'clock in the morning, or about, let's say, probably like maybe 10 or 11 in the morning. You'll probably see it on my channel about that time. So tomorrow, the only video I'm gonna be uploading tomorrow is either gonna be What If Belle was a Green Lantern, and my new stop motion, or my continuation of stop motion I made a month ago or a couple months ago. What is not stop motion wave. I am working on that though, but a stop motion episode 2 to Spider-Man versus Carnage, but I forgot to put the N in the man, so it's just Spider-Man versus Carnage episode 2. So I'm going to be posting that tomorrow alongside What If Belle was What If Belle was a Green Lantern. So I'm going to be doing that. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. I just had this idea out of the blue, and I have made other what ifs that have inadvertently led to the living of Wally West, Wally surviving. What if Ben 2 was in Justice? He pretty much helped or pretty much saved Wally, stuff like that. So this is a continuity of what if Wally West became the Flash in this universe and basically became the favorite, the best, and also the OG Wally West in continuity and lore. The Young Justice Unlimited series Wally West was just the best. Like, honestly, I can't even lie. He had the best episodes, the best personality, the best references. I mean, like, he was just the GOAT in every way possible, every way imaginable. But let's just dive right into the video. As we get switched to episode 20 to season 2 of Young Justice Endgame, as that would be the episode of Wally West would have died in continuity. But this episode, for some reason, in this multiverse, or in this universe, or in this universe, Wally West would have been faster. Or he would have had a lot more willpower and would have been able to push and tap into the Speed Force way more than original. Now, basically, let's get into the video. Now, we start our story off doing when Impulse and Barry Allen Flash showed up in the North Pole when pretty much a magnetic pulse disruptor was making a huge crater in Earth, or was about to rip apart Earth in pretty much the North Pole, as the planet would have gone haywire and them having to work together to try to take down or disrupt the field, as three Speedster, aka Wally, Barry, and Bart, would have had to have been running around circles trying to contain the blast or trying to dissipate it. As they were starting off with Bart and Alan trying to run, as pretty much Wally would have jumped in as well. As Wally would have jumped in, and they would have been running, as they would eventually try harder and harder to try to stop this thing. As well, in this continuity, Wally would be determined not to die, as he would not left, Artemis behind, as he would be determined not to leave her behind. He would not want to die so quickly. He had complete willpower. He wanted to stop this all, but time and time again, Wally started to get hit and hit. He wasn't fast enough. As Wally would have been yelling out in pain, him being hit by the blast and him phasing out of reality back and forth, as Wally would have been reaching and pulling to the Speed Force as fast as possible, running as hard as he could. Eventually, his eyes would have glowed bright orange with electricity pulsing right through his body, as the Speed Force would have been throwing so much into his body. As he would have been passing behind Barry and Bart, as he would have been passing them up time and time again, passing them around, running circles around them. Before he evaporated, he would have been able to survive, as he would have been running, eventually him going so fast that it would have dissipated the blast, and Wally survives. as Wally would have stopped with the Speed Force being pulsed through his body, as he would have gone into a coma because, well, his body wasn't ready for all the power the Speed Force gave him in that minute. As Wally would have seemed to be dead, as he would just pass out and be in a coma for a couple months. As we can switch to the end of the episode, where we see that Artemis is crying over Wally's body, but at least he's not dead in this continuity. As Wally's put into the hospital and basically set, and some doctors are saying that he won't survive this because the Speed Force was so close to frying his cells that Speed Force gave him way too much power. It was overloading his cells and his Speed Force. It was just overall too much for him. And he was very lucky to even survive, or his body was very lucky to even stay intact after the Speed Force gave him all that power. Now, after that, we see that the Justice League is able to clear their name, and you do see the team has suffered a great loss today. But we've shown that, well, the season will be cut off from there, basically ending off there. But we'll switch sometime later, after, episode 20, like near the end of the episode 20. Bart would have been wearing the Kid Flash suit, but couple years later, some time later in season 3, as we get switched to season 3, episode 1, as we get switched to, well, Wally West with the new members of the team. Red Arrow, the new version of Tim Drake, and also pretty much what was it? I forgot. Catcher or Stretcher? I don't remember her name. Static Shock, Blue Beetle, and also Wonder Girl, and also the new improved Kid Flash, aka Bart Allen, as Bart would have been the new Kid Flash, and we will be introduced to, well, the new Flash. As the new Flash would have been Wally West. Now, since Wally would survive this continuity, and he would get out of his coma after about 10 months, after his coma for 10 months, as it would have been over, he would have woken up from his slumber. As the Speed Force of his body would have been able to adjust his cells to, well, pretty much keep up with the Speed Force. So basically, well, Wally was able to, well, compete or come pretty much simple. He would be able to keep on going. As we get switched to New Genesis and season 3, beginning of season 3, as we get introduced to our new characters, as well, Aqualad would have been the new Aquaman, Flash would have been replaced with Wally being the new Flash, and a couple more members of the Justice League being let onto it. Now, Black Lightning would still be distraught about the whole killing the child thing, aka the metahuman child that was transformed, and pretty much the episode would have gone similar the same. Basically, just Wally being in the room and him having that charismatic personality, making jokes like he did in season 1, as most of the team would have just been looking at him crazy, saying like, "Why are you making jokes with this type of person and this type of, situation?" But they would have let it go. As we get switched to the team talking about the whole situation and what to do, as we get switched to, well, pretty much the team figuring out why and when they're doing this. But eventually, the team would have broken up, and Batman would have quit the Justice League, as he would have left the Justice League alongside a couple of other members, alongside Black Lightning also leaving as well, as he would have felt so guilty about what he did, as he would have left Static Shock behind, not being his mentor anymore. Now, Kid Flash would have stayed in the league, and not Kid Flash, but the new Flash, Wally West, would have stayed in the league. Now, since Wally had way more Speed Force than pretty much, well, had way more of the Speed Force in his body than Barry, and he also had way more potential, he would be the same level of speed and strength as the comic book Wally West, meaning that he would have been incredibly powerful, like stupidly powerful. But basically, as we search on Nightwing, as he would have been saving some kids, basically getting them out of, lock or containers that they were about to get transferred and pretty much, well, metahuman trafficked, as Nightwing would have saved them, as he would have used some of his eye tech, and I'm pretty sure these are contacts that work kind of like high-tech glasses or type of goggles. As Robin would have taken down most of the, containment ships and the tech or the equipment they were using to make the metahumans, or to activate certain people's metahuman genes to traffic them, as he would have taken down the people's pretty much base of operations, stopping them from doing any more, wrongdoings. He would have also called the cops as well, so they would have been on their ways also. Now Robin would have gotten a sample, and he would have been, given the components right away from Barbara, as Barbara would have been working on pretty much what was in it, as he would have looked that what came from Markovia, as they would have tried to check it out. Now after that, we could switch to Cat Grant, as she would have been doing a talk through on Markovia about the king and the queen and their son and their daughter and stuff like that. So the first half of the episode would have gone completely the same, nothing really changing too much. But since Wally would have been a new member of the Justice League, plus he would have been the new Flash, him keeping up a representation. Now his suit would have been different from Barry's suit, as Wally's suit would have been exactly like this. His suit looking like this, more of a redder, darker version of Barry's suit. As he would have started to pretty much train, not train, but over the years, he would have easily surpassed Barry's top speed by a little minimum ease. As we would have switched throughout the episode, passing by all the other parts of the episode, eventually coming to the 8-minute and 11-second mark, where we would see Artemis wake up next to Wally, as Wally would have been living in the same, house with her, basically since, Wally wouldn't be dead, he wouldn't, she wouldn't be stumbled in depression, and she would have been mourning over him, meaning that Wally would have, during these years, would have actually eventually married Artemis, and they would have eventually started to think about having kids. But we wouldn't get into that until maybe season 4 of this What If. Now, basically, what happened is Wally woke up next to Artemis, and they would have woken up going to get dinner, or going to get breakfast. Now, since Wally would have been living with her, pretty much, the other, pretty much not the clone of pretty much, Speedy or Red Arrow, pretty much, I can't remember his name, but yeah, so basically him, he would have been living alone. Well, he wouldn't be living alone, but he would be pretty much not living with Artemis or anybody else. He wouldn't be living with them, okay, it's simple. He would have been, on the straight and narrow. He wouldn't be in the alcohol or anything like that. He would be in the straight and narrow. He'd just live in a pretty good penthouse, him having a pretty good job, being paid a little bit more than he was getting paid from his original job in Canon. Now, his original job in Canon would have just been paying him more, so he would be able to afford a penthouse-like apartment and basically just chill and just live his best life. Now, he would be raising his daughter that he had with Shetcher, aka the niece of Artemis. Now, they would have visited her and pretty much Speedy multiple times, or the clone of Speedy, multiple times a day or a week. Now, basically, Speedy would have been a good father nonetheless, even without Artemis. Now, he would have raised her pretty well and would have kept her safe all the time, taking her to school and sometimes even homeschooling her in some days. Now, basically, doing that, as pretty much Wally would have woken up, cooking breakfast for Artemis, and we would see a little bit of glimpse into their home life. Their home life being very much, eventful, and them overall just loving each other and just being like a normal couple. As we would see that, doing this, we would see that Wally would have opened the door to pretty much Grayson, as he would have told them about Markovia mission that he wanted to do with Artemis and Wally. Now, since Wally wouldn't give up the hero business, him being the new Flash, but Artemis would have, her not really, not really wanting to be a hero too much, at least, not really at all, but her not willing to weigh down, pretty much, Wally, since Wally was given the opportunity to become next Flash from, pretty much Barry, because Barry basically retired in this continuity. In this canon, Barry has retired, but he is working sometimes as the Flash behind the curtains and stuff like that. So basically, Sometimes he's the Flash, but a bit simple. The main Flash for the Justice League and pretty much doing missions stuff like that in Star City is Wally West. So Wally West is the new Flash. Barry Allen is just retired and living his best life with Iris. So yeah. So what happened is Wally and Artemis would have gone on this mission with Nightwing, and doing this, we would see the Macarvia family get assassinated before Nightwing, Superboy, Megan, and the rest of the group would have made a type of trip to go there. As we would get seeing that, Superboy and Megan were living together with Wolf in a type of cabin like, pretty much house in the pretty much forest. Living in a very spacious kind of barnyard house. Pretty nice house, actually. Now, pretty much doing this, as we get switched to Nightwing showing up to Megan and Superboy's house, as he would have been talking to them. Now, doing this, we would get switched to, pretty much, doing this, we would get switched to, Superboy proposing to Megan. As Superboy would have proposed to Megan, like in canon, basically doing this with a lot more confidence in his heart because he would have been there for Artemis's and Wally's marriage. Now, pretty much doing this, we get switched back to Gordon Godfrey, as he would have been, talking smack about the Justice League and overall the Sokovia incident and everything like that. Now, doing this, he would have been talking about pretty much the uncle, or pretty much the brother of the king, would have been taking up the throne, or would have been trying to take up the throne. As we get switched to Metropolis, as we get switched to the house of Black Lightning's daughter, as he would have been saying goodbye to them, telling them to have a good night's sleep. As his life would have been somewhat the same, and have the same type of, life and stuff. As after that would have happened, we would get switched to Nightwing talking to him, trying to get him on the team on the mission, as Black Lightning would have just let it go. Him not wanting to be a part of it, but eventually Nightwing somewhat talking him into it. Now it gets switched to pretty much the team showing up near a boom tube area, as they would have been on their way to go there. As pretty much Superboy would have came, Artemis, Wally, and Black Lightning would have came, them going on their mission together. And we would end off episode 1 of Season 3 off there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Who guys like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces. Now, before I go, real quick, Wally West, he's going to be a lot more, he's going to be like crazily overpowered or super OP in this continuity. So just expect a lot more from him in this series. So yeah. Deuces. Like for real this time. Deuces.